Hi guys, today we're talking about partial differences subtraction. This is a method of subtraction that you're going to learn, and your learning objective for today is just that. I can subtract using partial differences. Down below I have an example of it. Here's our subtraction problem we set up, lining up our digits. And what we're basically going to do is we're going to be breaking each of these numbers apart into their place value parts, and then subtracting them as we go along. So this looks really busy down here and it might be a little scary, but we'll give it a whirl and see how we do going along here. So let's get started. The first thing we like to do when we do partial differences subtraction is we make a ballpark estimate. So we have an idea of what approximately our answer is going to be about. Now when we make a ballpark estimate, I like to do it to the highest place value. So my ballpark estimate is going to be between 400 and 500 because this is my largest number, it's my hundreds place, there's nothing beyond it, and so I'm going to ask myself, is my ballpark estimate between 400 or 500? And so I have to think on a number line here. Here would be 400, here would be 500. Is my answer going to be closer to, or is 484 going to be closer to 400 or 500? Well, that 84 is going to be pretty close to the next hundreds place, so I'm going to say that 484 is pretty close to 500. All right, and I'm going to take away my ballpark estimate for 263. Same thing, this is my highest digit, and so I have to ask myself, is it going to be closer to 200 or 300? I always want to go up from this number, okay? So 263 is definitely going to be closer to 300 because of the 63, it's over the 50, and so I should end up with an answer about 200. It's not going to exactly be 200, but it's going to be pretty close. Let's go ahead now and take a look at the partial differences part of this. I want you to learn a method that's going to be comfortable for you. If you don't dig this method, that's okay. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to subtract the hundreds. And so if you were to split up the number 484 into place value parts, you would have 400 and then 80 because there's 8 tens and then 4 ones. For 263, you'd have 200, 60, and 3. And if I were to add those all together, they would equal the numbers that we have up here. So I'm going to subtract my hundreds first, and I have 4 hundreds, and I'm going to take away 2 hundreds. Okay? I'm going to draw a little arrow over here and line everything up. It's really important that we keep everything lined up when we subtract. So I'm just going to write my answer to my hundreds subtraction right here. Okay? Oh, I should make one other thing really clear. We might end up in some negative numbers here. And so I want to make sure when I draw my arrow over here for you that I'm going to keep a positive sign here. Not that I'm adding really, but when I did 400 take away 200, I ended up with positive 200. I'm not in the negatives at all. Let's subtract the tens next. I have 80 or 8 tens minus 6 tens, or 60. So 80 minus 60, that's going to give me another positive number. And I'm going to line it up again, really important to keep everything lined up. That's going to give me 20. And I'm going to put a little plus sign here because we stayed in the positive numbers. Now we're going to subtract the ones. I have 4 ones, and I'm going to take away 3 ones. And that's going to give me a positive 1, all right? And I'll show you what I mean. If I start at 4, and then I take away 3, 1, 2, 3, I'm ending up at positive 1, all right? Sometimes if you take away more than what you have in the positive numbers, you're going to end up in negative numbers. Now we're going to add this all together. You're actually going to add the partial differences even though you're subtracting. I know, it's kind of bizarre. So we're going to keep our columns lined up here. And our answer is 221. Let's try one more. Our ballpark estimate is going to be, I'm going to say 500. 528 is definitely closer to 500, minus 263. And 263 is going to be closer to 300. So we should have an answer about 200. So the first thing we're going to do is subtract the hundreds. So I have 500, take away 200. Remember, this is made up of 5 100s and 2 100s, and that's going to be 300. No negative numbers, so I'm just going a little positive sign there. I'm going to subtract the tens. I have 2 tens, or 20. Take away 6 tens, or 60. Now, interesting, look at this. You have a higher number on this side compared to this side. So we are going to be in the negatives now. So if we were to start at 20 and then count backwards 60, 20, 10, 0, negative 10, negative 20, negative 30, negative 40. We actually end up at negative 40. Tricky. And now we're going to subtract the ones. We have 8, take away 3. And that's going to give us a 5, a positive 5. So now we're going to add, keeping in mind that we have a negative number in here, so we're going to have to actually subtract this first part. So I like to kind of do my work off to the side then. What is 300 minus 40? Well, you might have to borrow here if you want, but your answer would be 260. And now we still have to add on our 5. See what I did there? So your answer would be 265. Once again, use the method you feel comfortable with. This might work better for you, or you might enjoy counting up more, or you might enjoy the traditional method a little bit more. That's all for today. Keep practicing, and we'll see you guys later.